In the last set of videos, I went over how to set up your voice over IP services provider, how to configure everything, and why it is I chose the voice over IP services provider that I did. I chose VoicePulse. Now, that's set up. But now we have to have a PBX at our business so that I can actually make outbound calls to the real world. Now, I chose to go with a PBX that was hosted at the business. The reason is because, as I said in other videos, you get increased flexibility, you get overall, you're going to spend less money because you're the person who chooses whether you're going to pay by the extension or not. Again, you can have 10,000 phones in that PBX, or you can have one. You're going to pay the same amount of money to your service provider. You're only going to pay by the minute. And you get access to a lot of features without kind of getting nickeled and dimed at each one. So I thought I would show you how to set up your own PBX. The reason I also lean towards that for this setup is because if I'm going to do a how-to video series on how to set up a phone system, it would be kind of silly if I use somebody else's pre-configured PBX. I'd like to show you how to set one up from scratch. So I'm going to be setting up a PBX at the business from scratch, and I'm using a system called FreePBX. There are a few reasons that I'm using that system. The first, most important reason is that it actually works. Believe it or not, there's a lot of tech out there that you can pay good money for, and it doesn't work, or half of the features work. Or, you know, this will work 6 months from now, but it doesn't work right now. Or, oh, you wanted to do this with your phone system. Yeah, ours doesn't support that. I like when I get a phone system. I like when I buy anything, hardware or software, and it just works the way I expect it to. FreePBX has never surprised me with some kind of gotcha where it just doesn't work the way I want it to, which continues to surprise me to this very day. Second thing I like about FreePBX is that it's open source. FreePBX being open source means that anybody around the world can look at the source code and contribute to it. So if there's some 13-year-old kid in Thailand that says, I really don't like that FreePBX has had this bug for 2 months and nobody's fixed it, rather than wait for developers to fix it, he himself, if he has the ability to code and he knows how to fix the bug, he can actually submit a fix for this bug and it can get put into the development versions, which is pretty cool. So it's not just like you have a regular little code base of people that are trying to fix problems and develop it. People from all around the world are looking at the software. People from all around the world are improving the software, improving the code base, which is a really cool thing. The third reason I like it is because it's open source, it is also legally free. So yes, whether you are getting a system with 1 user, 2 users, or 20,000 users, FreePBX costs the same amount of money, $0. I would highly suggest that if you use the software and you make money off of the software, or your business uses that software and makes money off of it, that you contribute something to it. You can always donate to the project, and I would highly suggest you do, because it's a good project led by good people. Third reason I like FreePBX is that it has all the features that I want. So, you know, again, call recording, voicemail, can I ring this phone but not this phone when this number is dialed? Can I use different caller ID sources so that I can actually grab caller ID information from my ticketing system? So the ticketing system that I use in my store, I can actually have the status of a ticket show up on my phone by having the by having FreePBX use an API from that CRM software. So I can see the status of a ticket on my phone. It'll say waiting pickup done, or needs approval, or just paid bills. So when I greet them, I can actually greet them as if I know what I'm talking about, instead of having to go, let me look you up in the ticket system. You have a lot of really cool features built in a FreePBX. The fourth thing I like about it is that it has a really wide user base of people. So when you're using software that may only have a very small user base of people, you're kind of beta testing it for them. And it hasn't really been used in a wide variety of scenarios. So there's a very good chance that there's a feature that you need that's not built into the software. Since FreePBX is so widely used by so many people, they're constantly getting feedback on what it is they should add or what they should change. And since the software is open source, if there's a feature that somebody or some organization really, really needs that's not built into it, they can actually code it. They can pay programmers to code that part of the software and then implement it into the project. So the reason I like FreePBX is because there are so many people using it that they're constantly contributing to it, and it's constantly getting better. So again, if you run a business with 4 to 7 people, there's a possibility that all the features that you need already there, because other businesses with 10,000 or 30,000 or 70,000 people are using this system, and they've already, anything that you need, they probably need and have already implemented. And anything that you think you're going to need when you have 20 or 40 or 100 or 200 users, the 70,000 person business probably already implemented back when they were where you were. So having a large range of users and a large user base really helps the software. And the last thing that I like about it and this is a really big benefit because it's usually a con to open source software, is that it is backed and supported by a for-profit company. So with open source software, there's a lot of good open source software, but if you need help with specific aspects of it, a lot of open source projects are pretty much take it or leave it. So we have a support forum. You should post your question. If you get an answer, great. If you don't get an answer, well, figure it out yourself. And I can't complain because a lot of this software is free. There's only so much that you can expect for free. The great part about FreePBX is that the company that purchased all of this, named Schmooze, offers paid support. So I'm allowed to yell uncle. If I get to a point where I'm stuck and I have no idea what I'm doing, and there's a feature that I need to implement, there's a problem that I've run into, and I cannot fix it, I can go, please help, and I can give them $150. They will remote into the system. They will actually remote into the system, fix the problem, tell me how they fixed the problem, and it'll be fixed. So it's not like you're stuck just because it's open source and free. If you ever get to a point where there's something that you need fixed, there's something that you need help with or support with or service, they will help you. There is that option to pay them, and they will help you fix your problem, which is great. And they also have service and support packages. They have service and support plans. So if you're a business that will need regular help or regular assistance, you can actually pay them a set amount of money and have a service plan set up with them. So overall, it's a great ecosystem. There are great forums all over the internet where people are constantly answering questions. If you have a question, you can always ask. There's a good chance that somebody else already had asked your question, and somebody else already had your problem, so you can search the forum and you can search and you can find an answer. If you don't find an answer, you can ask a question and somebody will answer you. If nobody wants to answer you, you can always fork over $150, open a support incident, they'll remote into your system, they'll fix the problem. I've never had to pay Schmooze to help me with FreePBX, but again, if I wind up setting up some type of system later on where something goes terribly wrong or somebody asks me to implement a feature that I'm not really comfortable implementing, they're always there and they're always available for support. So that being said, let's go on to how I choose a version of FreePBX to download. So there are many different versions of it, as you see here. I'm just going to go to the screen capture software. So I'm Googling FreePBX download. I'm just going to make the window a little bigger since this is 4K. It's probably hard to see. So we're going to go to downloads. Now when we go to the downloads section, you're going to see that there's 4 different editions. There's a newer version, and then you have over here an older version. And you also have 64 and 32-bit versions of both. Now, I'm going to choose the older version for a few reasons. Since it's been out for more time, more people have had a chance to test it, more people have had a chance to find the bugs, and therefore fix the bugs than a newer version. So keep in mind here, what I'm going to be setting up here is a basic phone system, meaning I want voicemail, I want caller ID, I may want call recording, I want to make outgoing calls, and I want to receive incoming calls. Nothing here is really super cutting edge. So, I'm not going to go balls to the wall and get the newest version and risk there being more bugs when I don't have to. The second thing is the 32 versus the 64-bit version. The 64-bit version has been documented to have some issues. There are a lot of different accounts, the independent accounts people have had of certain things being incomplete, or there being issues with the 64-bit version that weren't in the 32-bit version. And again, when it comes to performance, when it comes to 32-bit versus 64-bit, I'm running a phone system that gets hounded all the time on a computer that right now is almost 10 years old. It costs $80, and that thing almost never goes over 7% CPU. So I'm not in a rush to get more performance at the potential expense of stability and bugs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the full ISO of the 32-bit version, and I'm going to choose the older version. Just for the hell of it, I'm going to choose the USB image over here of the 32-bit older version, and we're going to wait for this to download. And for some reason, the machine decided to crap itself and not download from that link, so I'll just open a different browser and hope that it doesn't do anything funny. Too late now. Already opened another browser. Okay, here we go, and we're going to save it. Let's check the progress of my download. 5 minutes remaining, so that's going to be kind of boring. 5 minutes remaining. 7 minutes remaining with the internet. 9 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording here because there is absolutely no point in you watching a bar.